Most online video services are very keen to upload your files, your photos, your videos, your documents, your voice, your face, your children, your pets, your tax returns, and possibly the contents of your fridge if they can find a legal excuse. Video Voice Cleaner takes a different approach. When you use it to clean the sound in a video or audio recording, the file stays on your device. It is processed locally inside your browser. No server upload, no mysterious cloud, no enormous data center quietly wondering why you recorded 27 minutes of yourself talking beside a dual carriageway. And that is not a minor technical detail. It's one of the main reasons I built Video Voice Cleaner this way. What local processing actually means. When you use a conventional online audio cleaning service, the process usually works like this. First, you upload a recording to somebody else's server. Then you wait slightly longer. Then the progress indicator freezes at 97%, apparently as part of a psychological experiment. Eventually, the company processes your recording and allows you to download the result. Video Voice Cleaner does not work like that. When you select a file, it's opened by the application running in your browser. The audio is extracted, analysed and cleaned on your own computer, phone or tablet. The original recording is not sent to the Video Voice Cleaner server. It's not placed in temporary cloud storage. It's not copied to a server in a jurisdiction you've never heard of. It remains on the device in front of you. So, although selecting a file may look a little like uploading one, no upload is taking place. The browser is simply being given permission to work with the local file. That distinction matters. Why privacy matters? Video and audio recordings often contain far more private information than people realise. An interview may include confidential business information. A family video may include children, addresses, or private conversations. A work recording may contain names, financial details, or information covered by an agreement. Even an apparently harmless clip can reveal where you live, where you work, who you spend your time with, and what your kitchen looks like when you've not cleaned it properly. Uploading a recording to a remote service usually means trusting that company to handle it responsibly. You need to trust its security. You need to trust its deletion policy. You need to trust that the phrase temporarily retained does not mean stored until the sun expands and consumes the earth. Local processing removes much of that uncertainty. Video Voice Cleaner never needs to receive your original recording. Does not need to store it, does not need to delete it later. It cannot misplace something it never possessed. That is the privacy model in one sentence. Your file stays yours. How can a website do this? This is possible because modern browsers are much more capable than they used to be. A website is no longer limited to displaying text, showing pictures, and asking whether you'd like to accept 17 categories of tracking cookies. Modern browsers can run surprisingly sophisticated software. Video Voice Cleaner uses a technology called WebAssembly. WebAssembly allows high-performance code to operate inside the browser. It makes it possible to run software that would have once required a traditional desktop installation. The application loads the audio processing components, reads the recording from your device, and performs the calculations locally. The browser provides the interface. Your processor does the work. Your memory holds the data, and your recording does not have to travel halfway around the planet before returning with slightly less wind noise. What the software is actually doing. Video Voice Cleaner is not simply turning the volume down whenever nobody is speaking. That would be easy. It would also be fairly useless. The difficult part is removing noise while somebody is talking. Traffic, waves, wind, crowds, fan and room ambience are often mixed into the same frequencies as the human voice. The software has to estimate which parts belong to the speaker and which parts belong to the environmental chaos surrounding them. Then it attempts to reduce the unwanted sound while preserving intelligibility. That requires a substantial amount of calculation. Every section of the audio has to be examined. The system has to make thousands of small decisions about what to preserve and what to suppress. In a good result, the voice becomes clearer and the background becomes less distracting. In a bad result, the speaker begins to sound like a distressed robot calling from the bottom of a municipal swimming pool. The objective is not simply maximum noise reduction. The objective is useful, natural-sounding speech. Why some devices are faster than others? Because the processing happens locally, Video Voice Cleaner uses the hardware you already own. This has obvious consequences. A modern desktop computer will generally process a recording faster than an elderly laptop that requires emotional encouragement before opening the Start menu. A powerful processor can analyse audio quickly. A slower processor needs more time. Long recordings also take longer than short ones. Large video files require additional preparation and export work. Available memory matters. Free storage matters. The browser matters. The number of other applications currently fighting for your processor also matter. If you're cleaning a video while editing 6 photographs, running 37 browser tabs, installing Windows updates and playing a game, your computer may begin to question your leadership. Mobile devices have additional limitations. Phones and tablets manage temperature, battery use and memory very aggressively. A phone may reduce its own speed during a long processing job to prevent overheating. A browser may suspend activity if you repeatedly switch to another app. The safest approach is to keep the browser open, leave the processing tab active and allow the job to finish. Your device is doing real work. It's not pretending to think while secretly waiting for a server response. Why browsers behave differently? Chrome, Edge, Firefox and Safari all support modern web technology. Unfortunately, they do not always support it in exactly the same way. This is one of the great traditions of the internet. A standard is created so that everything will behave consistently. Then every major browser interprets it with the cheerful independence of a cat being asked to come indoors. Each browser has its own media systems, memory limits and codec support. Desktop Chrome may handle a file differently from Safari on an iPad. Android Chrome may behave differently from the browser that came pre-installed on the phone. Some browsers are better at handling large files. Some are more restrictive with memory, and some support peculiar video formats more reliably than others. That is why Video Voice Cleaner is being tested across a wide range of devices. It's easy to make software work on the developer's own computer. The real challenge is making it work on somebody else's 5-year-old tablet which has 400 megabytes of free space and has not been restarted since the last change of government. The advantages of not uploading. Privacy is the most important advantage of local processing, but it's not the only one. Uploading large video files can take a long time. A short, high-resolution recording can be hundreds of megabytes. A longer recording may be several gigabytes. On a slow connection, the upload may take longer than the actual audio cleaning. It may fail halfway through, may restart. You may decide your internet connection is unstable, which is the polite technical term for completely useless. With local processing, there is no need to send the entire file across the internet. Once the application itself is loaded, the work happens on the device. This can be particularly useful when travelling, working on public Wi-Fi, or using a connection with limited upload speed. It also reduces operating costs. Cloud processing is expensive. Servers cost money. Storage costs money. Data transfer costs money. Eventually, somebody has to pay for it all, usually the customer. Sometimes the customer pays with money. Sometimes the customer pays with data. Occasionally, with great efficiency, the customer pays with both. Local processing makes a simpler and more private model possible. What Video Voice Cleaner can fix? Video Voice Cleaner can make a substantial difference when speech is still audible beneath unwanted noise. It can help with wind, it can reduce traffic, it can suppress fans and air conditioning, it can make voices clearer in crowded or echoing environments. It can improve phone recordings made outdoors. It can rescue footage that would otherwise be irritating or difficult to understand. But it's not magic. If a passing lorry completely obliterates an entire sentence, the software cannot know what was said. If the microphone clips so badly that the recording becomes distorted, some information has already been destroyed. If the speaker is 50 meters away and facing the opposite direction, no amount of artificial intelligence can replace the microphone you did not use. Audio cleaning works best when the voice is present but contaminated. It can separate, it can reduce, it can clarify. It cannot travel backwards through time and move the microphone closer. Not yet, anyway. Why stronger is not always better. There is a temptation with any cleaning tool to assume that more processing must produce a better result. That's not always true. Excessive noise reduction can remove parts of the voice. It can make speech sound thin, metallic or artificial. The best result is usually a balance. The background should become less distracting without destroying the personality of the speaker. A useful recording does not need to sound as though it was made in a recording studio. It needs to be clear, comfortable to hear, and faithful to the original voice. This is especially important for interviews, documentaries, family recordings, and spoken presentations. The imperfections are sometimes part of the location. The aim is not to erase reality. The aim is to prevent reality from drowning out the person speaking. Why the beta matters. The beta exists because browser-based processing has many moving parts. Different devices behave differently. Different browsers behave differently. Different video formats behave differently. And users have an almost supernatural ability to discover combinations that no developer would ever think to test. Someone will upload a vertical video recorded on a 12-year-old phone using a codec last seen in a laboratory in 2014. Someone else will attempt to process a 4-hour wedding video on a tablet with 2% battery. Another person will close the browser halfway through and report the software stopped. This is not criticism. This is software testing. Real users reveal real limitations. Their feedback helps identify bugs, performance problems, and confusing parts of the interface. It also helps determine which improvements matter most. The beta is not only about proving the technology works, it's about making sure the experience works for ordinary people using ordinary equipment in thoroughly unpredictable ways. Conclusion. Video Voice Cleaner runs locally because privacy should not be an optional extra. Your recordings should not have to leave your device simply because you want clearer speech. Modern browsers are powerful enough to perform serious audio processing without relying on remote servers. That makes it possible to clean recordings privately, avoid lengthy uploads, and keep control of your files. There are trade-offs. Processing speed depends on your hardware. Browser support varies. The damage to audio cannot always be rescued, but the principle is simple. Your recording stays on your device. Your processor does the work, you receive the clean result. And no cloud server has to hear the argument you accidentally recorded in the background. Video Voice Cleaner is currently available to test in your browser. Try it with a recording that contains wind, traffic, crowds, room noise, or any other sound competing with speech. Compare the original with the processed version, and if something goes wrong, tell me. I would much rather discover the problem during the beta than after somebody tries to clean the audio from a 2-hour corporate conference on a budget Chromebook. The link is in the description.